Hello and welcome. Welcome to Cutting Edge, the show on the very intersection of technology, geopolitics, and strategy. Today we have Lt Gen Raj Shukla, member UPSC, retired Army Commander of the Army Training Command. He's also been the High Command Wing Commander in the Army War College MAU. He's also been a co-commander on the Western Sector, and now he's an author. He's a historian. He's a thought leader, and he articulates his views every day and nearly every time on televisions and various forums. And today we come with him with a very seminal thing in which we launch his book on civil-military fusion as a metric of national power and comprehensive security. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Anurag.
A pre-launch conversation on what a wonderful topic, sir. Civil-military fusion as a metric of national power and comprehensive security. And who better than you to write this, sir?
Yes.
Who better than you to write this?
And I'll tell you why I may just be the person to write on. You know how I chanced on this topic?
Okay. Sir.
In 2009, I was doing a fellowship in IDSA, Institute of Defense Study and Analysis. And the topic was the civil-military relationship.
Okay.
And to my utter surprise, when I started researching it, I found that the Americans then, and not so much the Chinese, the Americans studied this subject in great depth. They were lofty theories. और इंडिया में बात ही नहीं हो रही थी.
And this was since when, sir?
This was 2009 when I first came into this. For the Americans, they had CMR books, like CMR in the Kennedy era, CMR in the Reagan era, CMR in the Clinton era. तो मैंने कहा यार वहाँ इतना investigation, हमारे यहाँ it is just a very superficial topic. So I started. So what I'm going to say, the book has been very close to my heart and long in my head.
Okay.
Then if you recall, in High Command Wing, we had first started developing this.
Absolutely.
When the current chief was there,
Yes.
we first started speaking about fusion.
Yes.
And then my research, on this subject. And here, I would like to pay tribute to the Army. If one thing it has taught me, it is the great value of research and investigation.
Yes, I agree.
The original application of mind.
Absolutely.
And I must begin with this anecdote. It is not only the generals. We had some great one myth we must clear, that intellectual pursuits are not encouraged in the Army. Absolute nonsense. They are encouraged greatly.
Greatly.
And we've had some of the finest strategic minds, but even the ordinary soldier, he may not have the benefit of higher education, but he has dose of combat wisdom.
Yes.
What we call Shaurya or Vivek. I must dedicate this book to one of my sahayaks, Thapa, from the
Brilliant.
Gurkhas. And I'll tell you why.
Wow.
Whenever I was the co-commander and the army commander, and I was traveling, and I had also started writing this. And this is an unbelievable story. Say I was in some forward area, and I would tell him, Thapa, जब मैं आऊँगा, तो वो जो किसिंगर साहब की जो किताब है ना, वो आपने देखा था उस दिन मैं पढ़ रहा था, उसको यार एरा निकाल के रख देना और मेरे को ये देखना है.
You know that, sir?
Now listen to me. To my utter surprise, when I would come back, he would not only keep that book, but he would also chance to flag it. And 8 times out of 10, he was right.
Correct.
So he would listen to me. He has been the best researcher for me. And if you speak to him, एक दिन मैं आपसे बात कराऊंगा, वो English बोल ही नहीं पाता है. I kept wondering, what was this? Either it is, it is some strange kind of intelligence that he knows what's happening. He may not be very accurate about
Situational.
it. Situational. I call this Shaurya or Vivek.
Vivek.
It is combat wisdom which you see flowing in, in your tank crew, in your infantry crew. So ये बिल्कुल misnomer है. In fact, when General Hudda and General Bakshi first got technology to the AIOS, the LC, I saw how the infantry soldier adapts so wonderfully to technology. He takes the HHTI और उसके कमाल ही कमाल कर देता है.
That I agree.
So I mean, that's the point I make. So, normally people dedicate their books to their fathers and their wives. I've actually dedicated this, and I recall I've dedicated this to this framework of brain and brawn.
Okay.
The soldiers, sailors and airmen who formed this body of men and women with a unique ethos.
Okay.
And what is that ethos? Thinking like men of action and acting like men of thought.
Thinking like men of action and acting like men of thought. Profound,
So
sir.
thinking and action are not divorced in our
Profound.
case.
No,
You
not
remember
at all.
your earlier CEOs?
Yes.
They would tell you, यार hockey भी अच्छी खेलो और script भी अच्छी लिखो.
Repeating.
So when people today talk of thinking generals, it's an oxymoron. What general if you can't think? So this is actually, my book is dedicated to that.
Wonderful.
And now we'll now come to the subject of civil
Wonderful.
military fusion.
Right, sir.
Now what I want to say about the civil military fusion is that it has दो चीजें हैं इसकी. Firstly, it is very consequential for national security and statecraft. It was also of practical utility.
Okay.
So from the mundane to the profound, civil military fusion is the ingredient of modern statecraft. अब आप मेरे को बोलोगे क्यों? मैं आपको दो मिसाल दूंगा.
Okay.
Or these are my assertions, then you can question me.
Okay.
My research tells me that if there is one metric on which the Chinese are beating all democracies, it is civil military fusion.
I agree, sir.
It is Sam Dam Dand Bhed.
I agree, sir. Completely.
It is
Completely.
It is guile.
Yes.
It is making hard choices.
Yes.
So if you don't make the choice on theatre commands, there will be consequences to pay. लोग theatre commands की बात कर रहे हैं. I'm saying theatre commands is a speck in this whole business
Bigger.
of change, integration. You have to move from there to cross-pollination, to civil military fusion. So it has very consequential,
Application also.
और मैं आपको 2-3 चीज़ें इसमें से पढ़ के सुनाता हूँ.
Okay, sir.
2009, when I started investigating these theories, I picked out these sentences and I've quoted them so many times. Look at this. What it says of civil-military relations. It says, vital issues of statecraft and national security are determined by the pattern of institutional interaction between the civil and military components of a nation's polity. So, vital issues of statecraft. The ordering of CMR, therefore, lies at the heart of a nation's security framework. Kendra Bindu, heart. The third line, just the last line. While being rooted in the firm and unambiguous political control of the military. Political control.
Firm and unambiguous military control of the
Military by the political class. And now here's the difference.
Okay, sir.
Not the bureaucratic agent.
Absolutely.
But the political principle. And just to reinforce it, one of the theorists of CMR, Peter Fever, says that the civilian is right even when he's wrong. The civilian has a right to be wrong. The military only salutes and obeys. Means you don't question the political principle.
Correct.
But once this business is settled,
Yes.
fortunately India is in a happy place. This has been settled with us.
Oh, we see our neighbors, how they are.
You look at them.
How they are.
Their statecraft is adrift.
Drift.
Whereas once this issue is settled, then a robust and vibrant relationship produces a polity, both civil military,
Yes, sir.
that is alive to the nuances of national security and wise to the uses of military power. Look how profound.
Very profound. Very
If you are not
extremely.
wise to the uses of military power, आप उसका इस्तेमाल ही नहीं करोगे. What चाणक्य said, शास्त्र को भूलोगे तो संस्कृति खो दोगे. शस्त्र का त्याग करोगे तो राष्ट्र ही खो दोगे.
But then
Where
again,
you position the instrument of force in your strategic calculus will be a product of this polity, which is alive to the nuances of national security and wise to the uses of military power. In our case, when the CDS was appointed, the CDS is the Sutradhar of civil-military relations. He is the government's bridge between the civil polity and the military. And now I must tell you, you just mentioned off the record Barry Goldwater Nichols. The same time when I was a colonel in IDSA, Mr. Subramaniam used to come.
yes.
K.S. Subramaniam, Mr. Jayashankar's father. And he used to discuss the Kargil Review Committee and the GOM reforms. Look what he said. It is so relevant in today's context. He said Why do you need a DIA? You need a DIA so that the Indian military abandons its defensive crouch. जो हम ये LAC पे फंसे हुए हैं, the DIA was meant to look outwards. Bangladesh, Myanmar, West Asia, Afghanistan, outward orientation. And the theatre commander was meant to have a quasi-military visage. So the theatre commander was meant to shape the instabilities in Myanmar, Bangladesh, Afghanistan before they come to your doorstep. How wise. And the theatre commanders, DIA, act in sync under the CDS, who operates in the strategic military plane and has a diplomatic visage. Because we have not, shall I say, used our military diplomacy to great effect, look at the consequences. The doors of White House and the streets of Washington, this time in Sindoor, were opened for Munir by Kuruvilla, the CNC CENTCOM.
Yes.
And then Shehbaz Sharif stepped in. Look at the relationship with Nepal. It is very military to military. Bangladesh, military to military. If we don't nurse our military diplomacy, DIA, theatre commanders, CDS, foreign policy, which has two legs, force and diplomacy.
Yes.
The force leg will not be robust and potent. So this is Mr. Subramaniam's vision, not to, I think General Davar and a few others. But look at the vision then.
2009.
Then, and what did we go and do? Pehle to we delayed the CDS. Now we are unnecessarily wasting time on theatre commander. DIA ko humne uska role, instead of expanding it outwards, we have constrained it. Now these are offshoots of that polity which is wise to the nuances of national security and alive to the uses of military power. How consequential.
Very, very consequential.
So this is why the civil-military relationship is important. And the second point I make, even as we are wasting our time debating all this, China is zooming. They call it military-civil fusion.
Yes, sir.
Because it is militarily led.
Yes.
The Americans who were sleeping have now woken up to that. Det 201 is civil-military fusion. When you induct the CTOs of Palantir, Thinking Machines Lab, Meta, as colonels,
yes,
civil-military fusion. Ukraine dronery is nothing but civil-military fusion because it has brought together the warfighter, the technologist, Musk, the entrepreneur, Alex Karp, and the theatre of war and the marketplace.
Both.
All five. Now let me give you examples. World War II, you would have heard of Montgomery.
Yes.
You would have heard of Patton. 71 say Sam Manekshaw, Sagat Singh.
Yes.
65 Harbaksh.
Yes.
Who are the generals in Ukraine? Name them. Elon Musk. Alex Karp. So this is the way the CMR narrative is shifting to civil-military fusion.
Now.
It is fusion. And now it goes beyond the metaphor. It doesn't mean civil-military.
Okay.
It means talent from anywhere, talent from everywhere in the service of national security.
I was reading the Chinese guys. We just mentioned, they call it MCR, military-civil relations of military-civil fusion. And this got a lot of wind after Hu Jintao got in, apparently. And that is the time, apparently, they converted a huge amount of, military hardware factories where they infused a huge amount of civilian population and sprung the entire system. And then thereafter, everything followed, what you just mentioned, the industry, the academia, the military, the marketplace, and the entire economics of it. And I wonder how far they've been able to achieve it. But do you think we can do that, sir?
No. Do we have an option?
We don't. But then, are we looking at some timelines?
We must. This book is a persuasion.
Right.
Now,
right.
While I have given a roadmap
sir.
of things to be done, and that's in the last chapter.
Okay.
It is really not a matter of, this, that, and that. CMF has got to get into your thinking. Culturally, ideationally, and structurally it will happen. For example, and I think it's happening, but it needs to be stepped up. If the Space Command needs civilian technology geeks, they must be brought in as of yesterday.
So be it.
So be it. If the office of the CDS needs a technologist to advise him, she should come in tomorrow. ये तब आएगा जब सिविल मिलिट्री फ्यूजन हमारे सोच में आएगी. Actually, the whole battle is of talent versus mediocrity, or fusion versus tribalism. Now, I know tribalism very well. पहली बात तो हम बोलेंगे सर आर्मी का होना चाहिए, फिर गनर होना चाहिए. No, it is the day you pass this Rubicon of tribalism,
Yes.
you will see that इतना टैलेंट है, इतना भरमार है टैलेंट का, सिविल मिलिट्री की बात ही नहीं है. मे द बेस्ट मैन विन, मे द बेस्ट वुमन विन. So that is the argument. Now see, you took of the Chinese. Z, you're right, Hu Jintao started it.
Absolutely.
But as somebody gave me this phrase, China was living in the house that Deng built. On the back of MCF, Z has transformed it into a modern, technologically enabled mansion. MCF. Now how? Z says in one of his aphorisms कि why build walls of granite between cylinders of excellence? अगर सिविल और मिलिट्री में दोनों अपनी अपनी खूबियां हैं तो ग्रेनाइट क्यों?
So no silos. Break the silo.
Yes. And then he creates a MCF Development Commission in 2017 and he chairs it.
Oh.
Okay. And now look at it. I'll give you the two examples. The poster child of CMF or MCF is the Chinese State Shipbuilding Corporation. So what do? They decide that this corporation, which is 4 tiers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, 4. Tier 1 and 2, they don't say it openly, military. Tier 3 and 4 is civil. But sab ek saath hai. One corporation to power global commerce and build a world-class navy. अब देखो करते क्या है वो चतुराई से. Tier 1 and 2 is only 15% of the shipyards, but 40% of tonnage, military वाले. और जो 3 और 4 में कैपिटल आ रहा है और जो टेक्नोलॉजीज आ रही हैं, धीरे धीरे 1 और 2 में ट्रांसफर करते रहते हैं.
How smart.
Commercial incentives to boost the military.
How smart.
Now look at the outputs. In 2024, stunning. This CSSC has produced more tonnage than the Americans have produced since World War II in a single year. Civil military tonnage, ships ki. And it is this same CSSC which is now taking them to a 500 ship navy. Americans to haar maan gaye. Both global commerce and a world-class navy. And they are leveraging that commercial network 3 and 4 to finesse 1 and 2.
But there are no turfs in this. There's no control issue.
भाई सब खत्म करती है. Z के आगे कौन सा turf? And now, once they are doing well, अच्छा now, Monty was telling me, ये जो 3 और 4 की जो ships है ना, civil ships, तो मान लिया आपकी ship है maritime मलेशिया में या सिविल वाली, वो बोलेंगे देखो आपकी शिप है ना, इसमें कुछ जगह छोड़ दो फॉर अ मिसाइल, कुछ जगह छोड़ दो फॉर अ गन प्लेटफॉर्म.
Redundancy.
And who will bear the cost delta? PLA. So I will pay for it.
Oh.
तो आपको भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है.
No, not at all.
आपने बना लिया वो, और ज़रूरत पड़ी तो
यूज भी
उनके जो बेसिस बन रहे हैं जिबूती वगैरह,
Sir.
they are civil military in character. Civil shipping, also military shipping. Look at this thought. And this is the poster child. They have done the same thing in chips. And see, they have gone streets ahead. Xiaomi makes mobiles. It used to make mobiles.
Yes.
Suddenly started making EVs.
Yes.
And it is beating Tesla in EVs.
Any day.
And now Xiaomi is also making artillery guns. Achha, but does it surprise you? This last point. Who led this whole thing? The Americans. I am now pulling this out from Shyam Shankar.
Okay.
They called it CMI, Civil Military Integration. So before the fall of the Berlin Wall, only 6% of defense spending went to specialist defense firms. Only. The balance, 94%, vast majority, went to companies with dual interests. So Ford, the car company, made cars and satellites. Chrysler made cars and missiles. General Mills, which was a cereal company, अनाज बनाती थी, that made cereals, artillery and inertial guidance systems. Why? Now Shyam Shankar makes the argument that no company can survive only on the military.
Diversification.
Who had the lead? Americans.
The Americans, okay.
Then they regressed.
Yes.
They slept.
Yes.
And CSSC came in. Today, defense primes in China have only 19% of their orders from the PLA. Balance, they are commercially viable. In our context, I was thinking we will truly become a defense powerhouse when Mahindra makes cars and missiles, when Reliance makes geo and unmanned submarines, when Tata also makes the unmanned fighter jet. Uske bina ye hoega hi nahi. PSUs on their own cannot survive.
So dual use, essentially. The whole entire technology paradigm needs to be dual use.
See, it is guile.
I agree.
It is hard choices. You don't do this, you don't reform your defense PSUs, you don't make theatre commands, there will be consequences. The world is moving ahead. So CMF, as I said, is a thought, it is an ideation, it is structure. Okay, now I'll give you one example, just two examples and we'll end. Today the Chinese, they boast of super aircraft carriers, stealth, electromagnetic power, they're going to fly J-35s. But you know how they began, Anurag? In 1997, 98, they didn't have even one aircraft carrier.
Yes.
फिर उनकी नज़र पड़ी कि यूक्रेन के शिपयार्ड में एक वरयाग करके कैरियर पड़ा हुआ है.
I agree.
उन्होंने कहा इसको खरीदना है.
उठा लो इसको.
अब कोई कैरियर तो देगा नहीं. So what do? There is a guy called Zhu Zhengping.
Sir.
And I am now quoting you from Rush Doshi's book. I've also put it into my book.
Yes.
He is a basketball player with the Guangzhou military region.
Okay.
Nice, tall, good looking. Usko they fashion him into a business tycoon. And he goes to Ukraine. He says, I'm looking for your carrier. तो कहते military के लिए नहीं, not military. It is to make a floating casino in Macau. Listen. And now, just to burnish his image of, he poses in Chinese magazines with nice looking women. He buys a $30 million villa in Hong Kong, which is financed by the Huaxi Bank.
Okay, sir.
He has offices in Kyiv, in Beijing, जहाँ ये लोग आते हैं और दिखता है यार ये तो business tycoon है, इसको carrier से तो कोई मतलब ही नहीं है. But his silent directions from the PLA are that do not only get Varyag, which becomes Liaoying, but get the critical blueprints for the carriers to follow. बिना blueprint के मत आना. Now Rush Doshi writes in the book, उसको carrier मिल जाता है. He says, मैं carrier अब मैं blueprints लूँगा तो उनको शक हो जाएगा. He said, go back. So now to cut a long story short, he gets the carrier and the blueprints. And the carrier travels from Ukraine to Ankara en route to Dalian in China. Ankara में फंस जाता है. कुछ bureaucraties, उनको कुछ शक होने लगता है. Who flies in? The president of China himself, Jiang Zemin.
To Turkey.
To Turkey.
On a state visit.
On whatever visit, I don't know. And does this deal. And of course, Chinese market access of deal. But the issue is this now. Acquisition then was at the intersect of strategic deception, state funding, commercial fronting, diplomatic maneuvering, and state intervention. अभी MCF structural है क्या? सोच है ये. Now, if we cannot do this, we should do other stuff. सोच है. अब बताओ मेरे को, if this is the distant objective, shouldn't theatre commands happen like this?
Immediately.
Immediately. और आप debate करते रहो बेवकूफ़ी में. So this is what we have to understand, what it will do. So let's wind up with two more examples. Look at the Chinese. If you're a startup in China, you will get your first orders from the defense ministry.
Correct.
If you are very good, they will hold your hand to commercial viability. कि आप market में टिक सको.
Yes.
और अगर आप बहुत अच्छे हैं, they'll say, Anurag, don't worry. I and you together will destroy that American startup which is going to compete with us. It is strategic, not L1, not DPP. So it is a very deep subject.
Very.
And I have written this book to try and stir these conversations. कि लोग पूछते हैं क्या करना है, 10 पॉइंट बता दो. 10 पॉइंट तो मैंने बता दिए, वो पॉइंट से नहीं होगा. ये सोच हम में आनी चाहिए. और विडंबना क्या है कि ये सोच हम में थी. जब our elders talk of सरस्वती, लक्ष्मी और दुर्गा का मिश्रण, were they not wise beyond measure? क्या कहा उन्होंने? कि सरस्वती means set up world class
Knowledge.
universities, Nalanda, Valanda,
Yes.
R&D में पैसे डालो.
Yes.
जो उसमें से प्रतिभा निकलेगी, technology and talent, use that to create wealth.
Absolutely.
Lakshmi. और लक्ष्मी से कुछ पैसा निकालो और दुर्गा.
Durga. The weapons of war.
Yes. And post 47, we copied idiotic Western concepts, DPP. So that is the broader story of CMF.
Wonderful.
The thought got into my head
Wonderful.
when I started. मैंने कहा यार अगर इतना if it is such a lofty subject, those first 3 sentences I quoted to you,
Very good.
I said हमारे यहाँ क्यों नहीं बात होती है इसकी? And then I researched, and then I went deep into it. And now you see everything is playing out. The Americans, when they have set up the Americans Future Command, I'm just quoting, they have set up this US Army Futures Command.
Yes, that's correct.
It is for tomorrow's readiness, not today's fight.
Absolutely.
As Army Commander RTRAC, I've been advocating this. RTRAC should be the first joint command. It should be the CDS's thought body to focus not on today's fight, but tomorrow's readiness.
10 years later.
उसकी website पे लिखा है, it is a public-private partnership
Yes,
to drive innovation through the rank and file.
that's correct.
And provide bleeding-edge technologies to fleets and formations with speed. Bleeding-edge technologies.
Not even cutting edge.
Not cutting edge. और उसकी स्थापना कैसे होती है देखो.
Sir.
They do a survey of 30 places in USA. And as usual, we all know military is good place.
There's a school there.
Yeah.
There's a
They
college
are told
also there.
Austin, Texas. Why? All Elon Musk country.
Yes.
जो उस टाइम का CDS था उनका, he says go there so that innovation begins to flow in your rank and file.
With the academic institutions in place.
Because they know it. Armies are conservative institutions.
Yes.
They,
Across the board.
Across the board. And to inculcate into this very moribund system, innovation, और वहाँ जाते हैं, 2 universities हैं, Carnegie Mellon और
And UT Austin.
Or UT Austin. So I think Carnegie Mellon is doing AI, the other one is doing something else.
Yes.
And I happen to have visited that place. The CNC Futures Command told me, ki, sir, we have got 3,000 academic hires who are working on quantum, robotics, some technologies today, some tomorrow.
3,000?
3,000 at rockstar pay.
3,000.
3,000.
That's the scale they're looking at.
That's the scale. And what he said, ki, what we are doing, we have made cross-functional teams. So say you are a quantum guy. I'm an AI guy. There is a robotics guy, a soldier, and a civil servant. They go to IPACOM.
Okay.
IPACOM just gives them a rundown of what their operational aspirations are. They come back and try to fit in technology solutions to that operational model. So I know your op plan and outline कि भाई robotics का इस्तेमाल कहाँ होगा, artificial intelligence कहाँ होगा. I make those products and deliver them to the IPACOM. So the point is what? There is a Chinese model, there is an American model, there is our civilization, Saraswati, Lakshmi or Durga Commission, and the Israelis. This is the last point I'll make. We are fascinated by the pilots, Israeli pilots. Of course. And why not? But do you know that without Mossad, and more importantly, without 8200, 9300, which are young technology geeks, which work on space, cyber, EW, day in and day out, those F-35s would not have taken the targets out. अभी कमाल क्या करते हैं देखो. They knew when Nasrullah was sleeping every night since 2006. मारा तो 30th October को था, but पता हर रात था कि कहाँ सो रहा था. This is from these wraparound technologies. We will never be able to hit our targets in the same manner unless we work on these wraparound. And what are those civilians? Civil military fusion. Civil military fusion. उसके बिना होगा ही नहीं. अभी क्या उन्होंने मास्टरी की है? It is human and technological, but fusion. कि they make the Iranians convene a meeting where 30 people come, and once they get a thumbs up कि सारे commanders आ गए, they proceed to bomb it. तो ये कमाल है civil military fusion का. So I've tried to give an insight into your viewers as to how deep this concept is.
Oh, wonderful.
और मजे की बात है कि ज़्यादा मोटी किताब नहीं है.
And this is good. This is readable.
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 So I was joking, I don't have, unlike Mr. M.J. Akbar, I do not have the gift to write poetry or prose. So these are facts and arguments.
Okay, sir.
But I really thought that this was a unique subject, and so I have pulled it out. And I quoted here Christopher Wray, the former director of FBI,
Correct.
says today it is not government versus government. It is not beyond government, not whole of government. CMF is whole of societies. So national security today is getting too complex, so complex that polities and societies need to get. Societies, he means academia.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Essentially everybody.
So that is the spirit of civil-military fusion. That is my understanding of the subject. And therefore I call it, a metric of national power
and comprehensive security. Wonderful, sir.
We have many challenges with China. One of it is budgetary. This is budget agnostic. This is cultural. अगर आपकी सोच में बदलाव आ जाए, तो you can, shall we say, narrow the gap with China in great measure.
But just to take this conversation, towards its culmination, sir, you think there was some iota of civil-military fusion in India during Op Sindhu?
Of course. See, from the past, let me tell you that now the few war games that I have seen in the recent past, अभी वहाँ पे आपके सारे आते हैं. This firstly the CAPF सारे आते हैं.
Yes.
I've seen ISRO, I've seen NTRO.
Yes.
So we are improving greatly from the past, but we have to compete with China and USA.
But is there understanding, sir? Do these people have the defense security apparatus understanding beyond a point?
Alive polity that is alive to the nuances of national security and wise to the uses of military power. The day our civil servants and military bureaucracies start saying कि ये startup को order इसलिए L1 के basis पे नहीं देना है, इसको दे दो और इसका देखो competitor कौन है, ये talented है उसको destroy करने के लिए कि नहीं, and not L1. You see today what is happening, our most diligent civil servants, most diligent, will say sir हमने file बना दी और file move कर दी. File से नहीं होगा. He has to beat the strategic military competition. ये प्रतिस्पर्धा है यार. It's a fight to the finish.
Fight to the finish.
We have to understand that. As the Prime Minister was saying, I think on Independence Day, he said that we have to take governance from the files to the people. How do I interpret in strategic military terms? It is from moving files to winning the strategic military competition. It has to be beyond files.
Very true, sir.
The Sudarshan Chakra that he spoke of, I was just wondering, what is it going to be? Firstly, it is massive upgrades in our AD topology, instruments of long-range precision. But what is going to oil these physical instruments? Civil-military fusion.
Civil-military fusion.
Talent, technology, all these things coming together.
And a greater role of the private sectors.
So, certainly.
Much greater role of the private
certainly. As Ukraine tells us.
Yes, absolutely.
As Ukraine tells us.
Which you've been speaking about, the drone missile force, and how they refurbish a drone which fails in 3 days by 3D printing and what have you, in the face of combat.
In Ukraine, dronery has taken birth as an art and a science.
Absolutely.
And that art and science is a tribute to civil-military fusion, or it would not have happened. और आप consequences देख लो. Today the Ukrainians have placed orders for 5 to 8 million drones. It is more than the artillery fired last year. Which means artillery is challenged. You must visit their Nemesis regiment. You're a mech guy. Sadly, Anurag, tanks don't move.
They don't, sir. In fact, you'll be surprised.
Patriots was saying
yes.
that what is modern combined arms warfare? I learned of combined arms warfare. So armor, infantry with artillery, engineers. He says modern combined arms warfare is 2 soldiers on a bike or 4 soldiers in a golf cart because the tank gets hit. So they are moving on bikes and golf carts. And who's protecting them? 2 surveillance drones. Why? These surveillance drones will guide the strike drones on the enemy.
Onto the target.
So it is a golf cart, 2 soldiers, surveillance drones and strike drones. This is modern combined arms maneuver.
I know, sir.
इस तरह से battle बदली हुई.
To my horror, sir, I saw another, clip the other day.
In fact, you tweeted one today with that net.
With that net, sir. I mean, now it's moved into the logistics domain, sir. Now you're looking at teeth to tail ratios on drones. It's actually disruptive, sir. It's really very disruptive the way things are going. And I think this
CMF has reimagined warfare.
Absolutely. It's just reimagined it. My God. But let's hope, sir, that this book brings a lot of wisdom to people.
Hope
If
at least
nothing,
it should stir
it
conversations.
stirs conversations to start with, and I think,
And look at this. I requested for blurbs
sir.
for people as diverse as this.
Okay.
And Mr. M.J. Akbar, who's
Okay.
a public intellectual.
Okay.
General Hasnain, who knows the world of combat so well.
Okay.
Sandeep, who's
Sandeep,
a
of
defense
course.
journalist. And Vrinda Kapoor, because she's a startup.
Of course.
Now the startup, the journalist, the soldier, and the public intellectual have to come together. This is civil-military fusion.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. So that this is what is going to be making our life full of stories, sir, as we go by.
That's my understanding, and I would really like somebody to to critique it to shreds, because that is the way conversations will grow. This is perhaps the beginning of the conversation, but it was my conviction. I thought I'll put it to paper. Now it's for the others to read and take it
Wonderful.
forward.
Sir. And my mother always tells me, that anybody who can write a book has, possibly utilized his life more importantly, because we all have the same time. And if you can take out time to write a book, then I think it's a great thing you've done.
It's quite a pain, by the way.
I get that.
It is more difficult than commanding a division, a corps, even an army.
Of course. So all I can say is good luck to your book, sir, and we will be there for the book launch either
Thank you
which
so
way,
much.
sir. And
more importantly, read it.
And reading, and I would implore all of you to please take a copy of this and have this at least not on your bookshelf. Please read it and get the thought correct, if nothing else, if India has to grow the way it has to grow and become the Vishwaguru and become more prosperous before it gets old.
So as I've concluded in the book, I said CMF may be the secret sauce
Secret sauce.
to fuel, fortify, and secure India's rise.
Wonderful. With that, sir, we thank you for coming here, sir, and I hope we see you again. And I'm just waiting to open this, and read this book. And possibly I will not be able to give you a critique either which way, sir. But I'm sure there'll be
I
some.
look forward to your critique after a while.
I'm sure there's a lot of wisdom, and there are a lot of things which, as always, I don't know what you write. So it'll be good for me to read it and possibly sound learned, if nothing else, in front of a lot of people.
You're very learned.
So, and thank you very much for coming, sir, and wishing you all the very best.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.